HBO's Green Lantern series is here. The show focuses on Hal Jordan and John Stewart, perhaps the two most iconic Green Lanterns. But just because they're the two most iconic doesn't mean that they're the only Earthlings to ever become Green Lanterns. There's the original Alan Scott, there's Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, Joe Mullen, and Raphael and Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles? Wait, really? Well, yes. No, kinda, not really. Let me explain. The TMNT franchise is one that has been, and always will be, proud of its comic book roots, and its status as a superhero property. Especially since the creation of the Turtles was inspired by superheroes like Daredevil and the New Mutants from Marvel, and graphic novels like Frank Miller's Ronin. And both Eastman and Laird were also massive fans of Jack Kirby, who created many characters for Marvel and DC. So the franchise has always been happy to pay tribute to the legends who paved the way before them, with this all eventually leading to the franchise crossing over with the DC universe. Many times in fact, but mostly just with Batman. But prior to this, legally speaking, the Turtles could not meet the heroes of the DC universe. But that didn't stop them from trying. In the 2003 TMNT series, the Turtles are not the only heroes that exist in their world. There exists a very public superhero team that helps the Turtles save the world on a semi-regular basis. That superhero team is called the Justice Force. The Justice Force is of course the TMNT version of the Justice League, because every superhero universe has to have their own version of the Justice League. The team was first introduced in Season 2, Episode 22, titled Return of the Justice Force. This episode serves as a loose adaptation of issue 15 from the original Mirage comic book series. In the episode, the members of the Justice Force whom we meet are Stainless Steve Steele, Dr. Dome, Metalhead, Zippy Lad, Joey Lastic, and new addition to the team, Ananda, who's the daughter of Dr. Dome and battling Bernice, her mother who died on a mission with the Justice Force. Ananda is originally the villain of the episode, believing the Justice Force to be the reason her mother is dead. But with the help of the Turtles, the Justice Force are able to set things right with her. And as a thank you for his help, Mikey is made an honorary member of the Justice Force.
Consider yourself an honorary Justice Force member. Awesome!
This first iteration of the team doesn't share too many similarities with the Justice League. They remind me more of the Justice Society, which is the team that predates the Justice League in the comics. Though there are definitely some comparisons to the League as well. Joey Lastic I think is a combination of Plastic Man and Elongated Man from DC. Zippy Lad is an obvious reference to the Flash from DC, with his hat being similar to Jay Garrick's winged helmet. Stainless Steve Steele is a bit harder to place, but I think he could be a reference to Commander Steel, also from DC. Dr. Dome is a reference to Dr. Doom from Marvel, can't wait to see him pop up in Doomsday, which is a pretty obvious reference going by his name, but he also has an army of Domoid robots, which are similar to Dr. Doom's army of Doombots. Finally, there's Metalhead, who I can't place at all. The closest character I could compare him to is Medusa from Marvel. He's also not the Metalhead people think of when they think of Metalhead from TMNT, because there's a more popular character with the name Metalhead. And Ananda, who I'll talk about in a bit. After the events of the episode, some of the members of the Justice Force decided to once again go back into retirement. These members include Joey Lastic and Dr. Dome himself. Though the world of TMNT 2003 is constantly in danger. So the team decided to create a new Justice Force with the next generation of heroes. This new team would be led by Ananda and the hero known as the Silver Sentry, who was Michelangelo's superhero idol and was first introduced during Season 1. Metalhead would remain an active member of the team, while Stainless Steve Steele and Zippy Lad became advisors for the new heroes. The team would add new heroes like Tsunami from Japan and Chrysalis from India in Season 3. and would later add the New York vigilante Nobody, the avian warrior Raptor, and the Turtles' former villain Nano in Season 5. Oh, and Michelangelo got promoted to official member of the team as well.
The Turtle Titan is an official member of the Justice Force. Of course, I'm only on duty every third Wednesday of every fourth month. And February 29th, when there is one.
This new incarnation of the Justice Force more closely resembles the Justice League than the previous one, as now we have some very obvious comparisons to the titular DC team. Silver Sentry, who was TMNT's version of Superman. Fun fact, when I was a kid, my dad used to tell me stories before I went to bed. And if you're going to judge that, 1, I was 4, and 2, how dare you? Those stories he told me were awesome. Anyway, one such story he told me was that Silver Sentry was actually Superman's brother, and they got separated when they came to Earth. As a kid, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Come to realize later on that he just made that up. But hey, it was cool that he tried to connect those two. Nobody is obviously our Batman stand-in, Tsunami our Aquaman stand-in, Raptor our Hawkman stand-in, and I think Nano could be a homage to Vision from Marvel, kinda? Ananda, I think, is meant to be our Wonder Woman stand-in. It's hard to say because she doesn't have similar powers or a similar costume, but since her mother battling Bernice had super strength, that could maybe be similar to Wonder Woman. Besides, next to Silver Sentry, she's kind of like the other leader of the team, kind of like Wonder Woman has been in the past for the League. And Chrysalis, I think, is like Jean Grey from Marvel, with telekinetic powers and whatnot. In Season 5, the team holds auditions for new heroes to join their ranks, and we meet 3 young heroes attempting to get a spot on the team. First, there's Gauntlet. I don't know if he's meant to be a reference to any pre-established hero, but he does kind of remind me of Chase Stein from Marvel's Runaways series. There's also Moleculo, who can shrink thanks to his size-changing belt. Very similar to the Atom from DC and Ant-Man from Marvel. Finally, there's Bowmaster, an obvious reference to Green Arrow from DC and Hawkeye from Marvel. These 3 got absolutely wrecked during the episode.
Fight!
And don't appear to have made it onto the team afterwards. So I wouldn't be surprised if they all just decided to not become heroes and live normal lives, you know, after they all got out of the hospital. With all that said, there is at least one Justice League member that doesn't have a presence in this team. That of course being Green Lantern. It seems the writers really wanted to correct this, and so they devoted an entire episode to this show's version of Green Lantern in the show's final season. But this wasn't just any episode of the series. This was the second last episode of the entire series, meaning that this is the last episode before the series finale. So it's gotta be awesome, right?
So it's all good, right? Right?
Well, it's the lowest rated episode of the series on IMDb, so that would be a no. But why is that the case? Well, let's dive into TMNT 2003, Season 7, Back to the Sewer, Episode 12, Superpower Struggle, and see how bad this episode really is. And along the way, we'll analyze all the Easter eggs and references that this episode throws at us. And oh boy, is there a lot. But before we do so, if you like this video, please drop a like on it. And if you like TMNT, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you could help me get past 500 subs, that would be awesome. Alright, let's get into it. The episode was written by Robert David and directed by Roy Bodine, whose name I think I've been mispronouncing in the previous videos, whoops. And it opens with Mikey trying to get Raph to attend New York Comic Caucus with him, which is the TMNT version of New York Comic Con, with Mikey attending as Turtle Titan, his super identity that he has used many times throughout the series, and Raph attending as his trusty sidekick.
Tortoise Boy, the Shelled Wonder! That's you, Raph. Made the booties myself.
And I'll tell you where you can shove them.
The costume and name of Tortoise Boy, the Shelled Wonder, is an obvious reference to Robin from DC, and the pretty ridiculous no pants and booties look from his original costume.
It's the short shorts, isn't it? I can get you longer shorts if that'll make a difference.
It's not the shorts. No, maybe a little.
Mikey also had Raph become Tortoise Boy in one of the show's promotional shorts.
The Turtle Titan and his teen sidekick, Tortoise Boy.
I got your sidekick right here.
Raph is pretty adamant on not going, so Mikey goes on his own. At the convention, he encounters many cosplayers who are obvious references to other popular movies, comics, and shows. We've got Optimus Prime from Transformers, the Cat in the Hat from the Dr. Seuss book of the same name, the Flash from DC, a female Galactus from Marvel, and no, it's not Galacta, because this episode actually predates Galacta's first appearance. So maybe this episode inspired Galacta? Maybe? We also have a guy who looks like Firefly from the Batman cartoon, Blue Beetle also from DC, Emperor Zurg from Toy Story, Night Owl from DC's Watchmen, and Ken the Eagle from Gatchaman. And I might be reaching here, but I think that this guy might be a reference to Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Like zoinks!
Now, all of these references are listed on the TMNT wiki, but the next lot aren't, so get ready. We then follow a mysterious cloaked figure as he walks through the convention halls, searching for something. He finds what he's looking for in a small comic pop-up shop that is loaded with even more comic book references and Easter eggs. As the shop has many comics on display that are based on the Justice Force members from the TMNT 2003 universe, but also act as Easter eggs to iconic comic covers from both Marvel and DC. I tried to track down all the comics that these were referencing, but since these artworks were produced for standard definition and not high definition, it's really hard to tell what some of them are. Thankfully, most of them were also used in an episode of Fast Forward, the episode in question being Season 6, Episode 8, Clash of the Turtle Titans, where we get a much clearer look at them. Also, keep this episode in mind because I'll be talking about it a bit later. And some of these covers have been posted online by Emilio Lopez, who worked in the animation department for the show, and actually drew most of, if not all of these covers. Going through them one by one, we have Action Comics number 1 by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, which was the first appearance of Superman, with Silver Sentry in place of Superman on the cover. Action Comics number 252 by Otto Binder and Al Plastino, which was the first appearance of Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, which I also talked about in my Supergirl video, please check that out. Once again with Silver Sentry in place of Superman, and what I guess would be his cousin, Sentry Girl, I guess, in place of Supergirl. Action Comics number 277 by Bill Finger and Kurt Swan, once again featuring Silver Sentry and Sentry Girl, but now also has stand-ins for Crypto and Streaky the Supercat. Superman vs. The Amazing Spider-Man by Jerry Conway and Ross Andro from 1976, the first ever Marvel DC crossover, but now with Silver Sentry and Nobody instead of Superman and Spider-Man. Moving on from Superman, we have Detective Comics number 27 by Bill Finger and Bob Kane, which was the first appearance of Batman, but now with Raptor instead of Batman. Batman number 1 from 1940 by Bill Finger, Jerry Robertson, and maybe Bob Kane, which featured the first appearances of the Joker, Catwoman, and Batman's origin story. This version is about Nobody, and I guess since the last time we saw him in the series, he has got his own sidekick based on Robin. Sticking with the Batman references, we have issue 1 of the tie-in comics to the Batman Beyond animated series by Hilary J. Bader and Rick Burchett, with cover art by Bruce Timm. And this reference has been confirmed by Emilio Lopez. Continuing with DCAU Batman references, we have another Nobody comic with him striking the same pose as Batman from the promotional posters from Batman the Animated Series, which was also used for its tie-in comics. We also have issue 2 of the seminal Dark Knight Returns storyline by Frank Miller, from before he went bad, and Klaus Johnson, once again with Nobody in place of old B-Man. Moving on from Bat to Spider, we have Amazing Fantasy number 15 by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, the first appearance of one Wallcrawler, the cover of which you most likely saw referenced recently in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Please check out my review of that. I also talked about it recently in my Spider-Man Mega review, so please also check that out. This version features Michelangelo in his Total Titan persona in place of the old webhead. We also have a reference to the works of toy salesman and AI lover Todd McFarlane, with a homage to Spider-Man number 1 from 1990 and Spawn issue 8, which was written by Alan Moore. This one has also been confirmed by Emilio Lopez. This one I'm not sure about, but I think that this one is meant to be annual number 21 of The Amazing Spider-Man by Jim Shooter, Paul Ryan, David McAlpine, and cover art by John Romita Sr. This is the story where Peter and MJ tied the knot, a decision which Marvel editorial hated for years to come. So much so that they erased the marriage by making Peter make a deal with the devil. No, seriously. This one seems to be a wedding between Nano and a Nanda's battle suit. Good for them, I guess. Moving on to the mutant side of Marvel, we have Giant Size X-Men number 1 by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum, which featured the first appearance of the second incarnation of the X-Men, with the first appearances of Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Sunfire, and Thunderbird, the Native American hero who was killed off in the very next issue. Great idea, guys. Kill off the indigenous hero, not racist at all. We also have Uncanny X-Men number 101 by Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum, part of the Phoenix Saga, with Chrysalis and the Justice Force in place of Jean Grey and the X-Men. This one has also been confirmed by Emilio Lopez. Next is issue 10 of the Ultimates from Marvel's original Ultimate Universe by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch, with Nano in place of Ultimate Iron Man. I think that this one is meant to be based on Wonder Woman number 1 from 1942 by William Moulton Marston and Harry G. Peter, with Ananda in place of Diana, which was Wonder Woman's first appearance. Outside of Marvel and DC, we also have references to Mike Mignola's work on Hellboy, as confirmed by Mr. Lopez, with Metalhead in Red's place, Eric Larsen's Savage Dragon from the Image Comics universe, which is the same universe as Spawn in... and briefly featured the TMNT. This reference is also confirmed by Mr. Lopez and has Total Titan front and center. We also have a reference to DC's Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, with Nano in place of the comedian's smiley face pin, and the title of the series being Family, which is a clever callback to Nano's appearances in season 1 and 2. Speaking of callbacks, we also have an original piece created by Mr. Lopez called Teenage Mutant Ninja Rodents, which is a callback to Season 2, Episode 1, Turtles in Space Part 1, where once stuck on the planet Tuhunib, the turtles encounter opposite versions of themselves and Splinter, with the turtle being the master and the rats being the students.
Whoa.
Mr. Lopez also stated that this one is a reference to the works of Arthur Adams, but I couldn't find the original issue that it's referencing. There's also all these that I couldn't find. If you know what all of these are referencing, please let me know in the comments. And for good measure, Clash of the Total Titans also features a reference to Superman number 1, once again by Siegel and Schuster. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the Green Lantern episode. So the cloaked figure steals a glowing green cape from some nerd and makes a run for it, but is intercepted by Raphael on his way home from the convention. The figure reveals himself to be Dr. Malignus, the arch nemesis of Silver Sentry, who Mikey helped defeat back in Season 1. Malignus attacks Raph, which attracts the attention of Mikey, who makes another Superman reference.
This is a job for the Turtle Titan!
This looks like a job for Superman.
Malignus flees as he also drew the attention of the Justice Force, who have looked better. The Back to the Sewer redesigns are generally not liked by fans for being a downgrade compared to the previous looks of the show. And these looks are definitely examples of that. Some are fine, like Nobody and Tsunami, who are basically the same, but just sleeked out a little bit for the new art style. But then there's the others. Raptor looks even more like Hawkman now, with a bird-shaped helmet and now no longer wears his crystal headband. That was a very important plot point in his episode.
The diadem. Where is it?
If you mean your headband, that guy with the metal wings took it.
No!
So it's weird he's not wearing it anymore. Unless he is under his helmet, I don't know. His voice is also different, and I don't think it fits.
My name is Raptor. I am an avian.
Hang tight, old-timer.
But apparently it's still the same voice actor, so that's weird. Nano looks like he's been on steroids since season 5. Metalhead's design leans more into the Medusa comparison now, as his hair no longer becomes spider legs and just a generic hair superpower. Sentry also has a lot more black in his costume now, which is weird for a guy named Silver Sentry. He also has a different voice now.
So, where's my sidekick? Where's the Turtle Titan? I thought Michelangelo would be here.
Good to see you again, Turtle Titan.
Then there's Chrysalis and Ananda. Now, Chrysalis I don't think is a bad design. I actually kind of like it, but it just doesn't work for an adult superhero. She looks like Starfire and Raven from Teen Titans mixed into one. It's worse for Ananda, the strong, tall, capable woman who almost defeated the Turtles and the JF in season 2, now looks like a teenager from a DC animated show. This is a criticism that a lot of TMNT fans have with this season. The fact that nearly every woman in the show now looks like they have been de-aged by like 10 years. Like, look at her standing alongside the team in season 5. She's almost as tall as Silver Sentry. Now, 2 seasons later, she's shrunk and is shorter than him. I don't get it. What makes it even worse is that they had newer designs for them for an episode of Fast Forward, and they chose not to use them. She also has a new voice.
I've been in communication with him. He doesn't want to fight. He's not evil.
It looked like you were holding your own against Malignus. Impressive.
Anyway, the JF is impressed how Raph was able to handle Malignus. So Mikey ties the cape around him and declares that he is his sidekick. To everyone's shock though, Raph begins exhibiting strange powers. So they take him back to Justice Tower to run tests. Justice Tower being similar to the Watchtower and Hall of Justice from DC. I don't think I should compare it to the Avengers Tower from Marvel, obviously, since Avengers Tower debuted in 2005, and the episode where Justice Tower debuted I'm pretty sure was written before that. They test Raph's new powers in a training room similar to the X-Men's Danger Room, discovering that the cape has unlimited power. Stainless Steve Steele and Zippy Lad arrive to deliver some exposition. And why does Zippy Lad look like he's aged another 40 years since season 5? They revealed that the cape belonged to a hero from their time called the Green Mantle, who, if you couldn't tell, is the TMNT 2003 version of the Green Lantern. Only this version obviously has a cape instead of a ring. Green Lanterns have worn capes before in the past. The original GL, Alan Scott, had a cape. The Green Lantern from the Elseworld storyline, Kingdom Come, also had a cape, who I think was also Alan Scott in that story. And Hal Jordan also wore a cape when he was evil in the 90s. We're treated to another comic cover Easter egg. This one being the first appearance of Hal Jordan as Green Lantern in DC Showcase number 22 by John Broome and Gil Kane. Steve tells the team the origin of the Green Mantle.
And a singular human chosen by an alien tailor to receive a rare and special gift, a super-powered cape. With this gift, he chose to become Earth's defender.
Which is not like the origin of Hal Jordan, where Hal was chosen as the successor to the Green Lantern Abin Sur when Abin Sur was dying. Here, GM got the cape from an alien tailor for an unknown reason. GM used the cape to battle evil until one day where he lost to a villain when the cape just fell off. Isn't that a bit of a design flaw?
Maybe you should get a strap for this.
We saw this in a flashback at the start of the episode, but I didn't talk about it until now because it wasn't relevant until now. The JF offers Raph a spot on the team, and he accepts, which makes no sense. Throughout the entire show, Raph makes it abundantly clear that he doesn't like superheroes. Like, he respects Silver Sentry and how he helps people, but the idea of wearing a costume to fight crime is something Raph despises. And yet now he's over the moon to be wearing a superhero costume and be part of a superhero team. It honestly just seems like he's just doing this to be an arsehole to Mikey and get back at him for the whole tortoise boy thing.
Don't worry, Mikey. If you want, you can be my sidekick. Lame-o lad. What's your problem, lame-o lad?
Which honestly just makes him super unlikable in the episode. It's announced on television that Raph is now part of the team. I'm sure Master Splinter would be glad you're putting your ninja skills to great use by revealing your existence on national television, Raph.
What part of ninjas move in the shadows don't you understand?
The reporter gives us another reference, though not to DC or Marvel this time, but to the 80s TMNT series, with the reporter being designed as a reference to April O'Neil from that show. This reporter also appeared in a few episodes prior to this one. The team goes on patrol with Raph, with this shot of the team running out of the Justice Tower, reminding me of the Justice League running out of the Metro Tower from the finale of Justice League Unlimited. Mikey tries to go with them but gets constantly shit on.
Never fear! The Turtle Titan is... Never fear! The Turtle Titan is... Never fear! The Turtle Titan is...
Which does not sit right with me. I don't think Raph or Silver Sentry would leave Mikey behind. But this episode needs everyone to act out of character, so they do anyway. They stop some crimes, including one where some crooks use a getaway van, which is just the van that became the battle shell, reused from season 1. So if they can reuse that, why can't they reuse the old character designs? We see Nobody rescue a baby from a burning building, which is a staple of superhero media in general, but also reminds me of Justice League. And after that superheroing, Raph calls it a night, but decides to respond to one more crime, which is just a ruse by Mikey so he can confront his brother. Mikey tries to get the cape off Raph, even begging him for it, and asks if they can share it, but Raph is having none of it. Mikey gets pissed, the two fight, the cape goes back and forth until finally it gets torn in half. While this episode handles Raph terribly, it handles Mikey pretty bad as well. The episode shows Mikey as kind of a jealous and entitled brat.
That cape should be mine!
He can't handle someone else being the hero and getting the attention he thinks he deserves. Some of it's justified because Mikey has always been the one with the dream to become a superhero, and Raph has always given him shit for it. And now Raph has that dream and is rubbing it in Mikey's face. But it goes deeper than that. Remember the Clash of the Total Titans episode I mentioned before? Well, that episode dealt with Mikey learning that someone else had taken up the mantle of Total Titan in the future.
You're safely under the shell of Turtle Titan!
Turtle Titan? Wait! Officer! Arrest that guy! He ripped off my act!
And while Mikey was always shit on for being Total Titan, this guy is beloved by the public and his brothers. Mikey confronts the guy out of jealousy, getting into a fight with him, but stops when he gets a taste of reality.
But now that I see what a petty, jealous jerk the original Turtle Titan was, I don't want any part of it!
This guy is just trying to help people and was inspired by Mikey. And now, Mikey is no longer acting like an inspiration. He's acting selfish. In the end, Mikey accepts the fact that his jealousy was causing him to act like a dick. So he accepts this hero as his successor and gives him his blessing. This episode serves as great development for Mikey and is perhaps one of the best episodes from Fast Forward. So we have already done the whole plot of Mikey getting jealous that someone else has stolen his superhero spotlight. And now it just seems like we're backtracking on some of Mikey's development. And also, Mikey shouldn't get mad that Total Titan isn't appreciated in his time, because he knows that someday in the future, he will be appreciated. The two are then attacked by Malignus, who depowers them with a yellow thimble, a reference to Green Lantern's infamous weakness to the color yellow. Originally it was that he was just weak to anything yellow, then it was retconned that while green was the color of will for the Green Lanterns, yellow was the color of fear for the Yellow Lanterns. Hey, at least it's not as dumb as what Alan Scott's weakness was.
But your ring is vulnerable to wood? So what happens if a guy comes at you with a pointy stick?
Same thing that happens to you if he paints it yellow.
The two decide to work together to beat Malignus.
Time for a team up?
Enough said.
A small reference there, but "enough said" was a catchphrase typically used by Stan Lee back in the day.
Enough said.
They kick his ass and make up.
That's what happens to evildoers when their paths cross the Turtle Titan!
And Tortoise Boy, the shelled wonder.
The two return to Justice Tower to hand in the cape, when its original owner arrives to pick it up.
Gentlemen, meet Al Gordon, the original Green Mantle.
Obviously, Al Gordon is a reference to Kilowog.
Oh, you want some poser? There's plenty for everybody.
Nah, I'm just kidding. It's obviously Hal Jordan. His first name could possibly be a reference to the aforementioned Alan Scott. Al was the security guard at the Comic-Con at the start of the episode. He repairs the cape and becomes the Green Mantle once again, ending the episode with a joke that the whole team laughs at. Since the next episode after this one was the series finale, we didn't see much more of the Green Mantle after this. Though he did appear in the series finale, where he gets bitch slapped by the Cyber Shredder. So yeah, I'm so glad we got this entire episode devoted to him just so he can do absolutely nothing. Superpower Struggle had good intentions by showing some love to the Green Lantern mythology and the importance Hal Jordan had in comics. I mean, he and Barry Allen literally ushered in the Silver Age of comics. However, in the process, the episode butchered the characterizations of two of the main characters of the show. It also didn't really use the Green Lantern mythology that well. Like, why didn't we get like a 2003 TMNT version of Sinestro? How come the Green Mantle couldn't create constructs like a Green Lantern can? Instead, he just has generic powers. And while IMDb's rating system is flawed, I think here it's right on the money, with Superpower Struggle being the worst episode of the 2003 TMNT series. What are your thoughts on this episode? Are you watching the new Green Lantern series? Do you think we should get an official crossover between TMNT and Green Lantern to make up for this one? Let me know it all in the comments down below. Also, let me know if you'd like to see me do more videos finding all the Marvel and DC Easter eggs in the 2003 series, because there is a lot more than what I talked about here. I could also do the 2012 series, or the 80s series, or Tales. There's just so many possibilities. So let me know if you'd like to see that. Until next time, thanks for visiting Earth Prime.
Now that's a satisfying ending.